Hey everybody, I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups.
I'm John Hammertime Holshoe.
And we are the Pop Culture Philosophers, and tonight we had an awesome movie night. In fact, it was the last movie night of HorrorFest 2016, so thank you. Happy Halloween. Hope you enjoyed traveling along the horror movies with us. Tonight we watched Creature from the Black Lagoon.
In 3D.
That's right, gang. 1954, Creature from the Black Lagoon, starring Richard Carlson and Julie Adams. A fantastic movie. If you know me and you've paid attention to anything that we've ever done, you know that I absolutely just adore the Universal monster horror classics. And Creature from the Black Lagoon is right there up, with the rest of them. It was a little bit later than some of the others, but I think this movie holds up. And even though it's from the 50s and not really the 30s or the 40s, it stands with those movies because it's just so good, it's so classic, and it's a good bridge between the movies that came before and the sci-fi movies of the 40s and 50s. I adore this film. I think it's fantastic. John, what did you think about this movie on the rewatch?
I love it. I think it holds up well. I think it looks amazing in 3D. It was actually shot in 3D.
Yeah, and we did watch it in 3D.
And it looks great in 3D. It works well. Some of the stuff they do, some of the shock things where they throw things and move things towards the screen, but it's not over the top. It doesn't interrupt from the actual flow of the story. I think it holds up well visually. I think it looks great.
Visually, it is stunning. This is the first time I've seen this movie in 3D, and I knew at a very early age, being a fan of these movies, that this movie was filmed for 3D back in the 50s. But I had never seen it until tonight in 3D. And to be honest, the 3D aspect, I was slightly disappointed in the underwater scenes. I thought the underwater scenes with the creature would be like the best stuff in 3D. I thought it would just look amazing. But because of the time and all that stuff, like the underwater scenes in the movie are good already, but the 3D it's so murky. It doesn't pop. It's not as clear as the rest of the film, but some of the 3D is really, really good. It adds a whole new layer of depth and dimension, if you will. What else do you like about this movie? Like, it stands up. You say it holds true. Why does it stand up there with Frankenstein and Dracula and the Mummy and the Wolfman and the Bride and the Invisible Man?
When I was a kid, Halloween decorations, all this stuff. You had Dracula or vampires. You had Frankenstein. You had the Wolfman. You had the Mummy. I mean, these were iconic characters. But they seemed so almost generic because there's so many variations of them. They were on cereal boxes, and the creature stood out as being different to me. And he just looked so cool with the gills, especially when you see the gills move. He really stood out. He was just so awesome looking. I don't know. He's still my favorite of the Universal monsters, maybe because of his uniqueness.
Your absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. He stands out because he's unique. But also because, and let's talk about some of the themes and motifs in the movie right now, but like, in the 50s, you got to think that America's going through this really paranoid phase. You got the impending doom of like the atomic nightmare. You got the Red Scare going on and the communist threat and all of that. And a lot of the movies of the time reflect that. In fact, the same year that saw the release of The Creature from the Black Lagoon saw the release of Them, the giant ant movie. And all those, and Godzilla. Gojira came out that year too. And those are movies that reflect like the fear of like radiation and the hydrogen bomb and the Red Scare, the communist stuff. But this movie represents that in a different way because the creature, the Gill Man, as we like to call him, he's not a radioactive monster. He's not a monster out to really get people. He's just a creature living, and he's the missing link that they describe in the movie. He's the missing link between fish and man. And he's also the missing link between those Universal classics of the 30s and the 40s into the movies that are more like spacey and anti-communism, all that crazy sci-fi stuff from the 40s and 50s, right? So it's the perfect bridge. He's a humanoid monster. He's got affection for the female lead, Julie Adams, in the movie. I almost said Julie Andrews. That's totally Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
But anyway, that would be badass if she was in this movie. But there's all those themes that reminisce of things like the Mummy and Dracula and even Frankenstein. So it's already there, and it's got that formula, but it's a new era. I think it's revolutionary for its time. It speaks a lot about science and evolution, but I think it's about the fear of the unknown. You get all this fear, and those movies like Them and the Flying Saucer movies, like they deal with that theme of fear in the 50s very blatantly. But this one's very subtle. It's fear of the unknown. Like, this creature's not really there to hurt anybody, except for those dudes in the tent in the very beginning. Seriously, why did he kill them? Like, that's the only unjustified kill in this movie. But they don't know what's going on. They don't know about the Lagoon. They don't know about the Amazon. I just think the movie's good, and I think it speaks on fear of the unknown in a subtle way. What about you, John? What do you think about some of the themes? I've kind of rambled for a little bit.
Yeah, I do think, I mean, it is exploring the unknown, and I do like the fact that, yeah, this is the creature that's supposed to, separate the fish from the man, evolution.
Yeah.
And you're also right that there was in that era a lot of films that dealt with the atomic bomb scare and getting into World War III with Russia or all this. And so this was a departure from that, dealing with a creature from the sea. And I think really the theme is more of the exploring the unknown more than anything else. And I think they were trying to make something different than what was out there at the time. Yeah,
and when you explore the unknown, there is an innate fear that comes with that. The fear to explore. But only through exploration do we truly grow and evolve as a species, right? And evolution's a big theme in this movie too, because the whole opening of the movie, which, by the way, some of the 3D stuff is really cool. There's a lot of stuff that's just thrown in the foreground that's like a little weird and murky. But overall, I really liked it, especially at the beginning where they're showing like the creation of the universe and the Earth and all that stuff. That stuff looked amazing, did it not, John?
It did, and this was during the big 3D boom of the 50s that died off and then came back and then died off and now is once again back. But you could tell they perfected the 3D for that era. It was great. The water, not so much, and it has something to do with the darkness, or maybe it was something to do with how they were filming under the water versus how they can film. Obviously, getting that equipment under there. I'm still impressed.
Though there are scenes underwater, but they're amazing.
Yeah, there's some scenes that look good, but there's more scenes above, and this is a scene that deals with some awesome scenes underwater. Yeah. I still am impressed, 3D or not, some of how long the gill man is under there without obviously resurfacing for air. And how cool he looks moving on in the water. Like, that was still phenomenal, 3D or not.
2 different actors played the Gillman in the movie. One above ground in California. One did all the underwater stuff on his own without a tank.
Yeah, he had to hold his breath for 4 minutes.
Yeah, down in Florida.
Yeah, and
4 hours.
They didn't want to use a tank, and they didn't want to do anything where the bubbles would come up. So he had to hold his breath for that period to give it that effect. And subsequent films, sequels, they eventually, you can see bubbles coming up because they're like, look, you can't hold your breath for this long. Yeah. And they modified the costume. But the original film, they went the extra mile with staying underwater for
absolutely
4 minutes.
Fantastic movie. We recommend it highly. In fact, if you've never seen it and you want to see it and you want to see it in 3D, check the link down below. Buy the Universal Monster box set on Blu-ray on Amazon and help support PCP. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please do like and share, and do be sure to subscribe. We are the Pop Culture Philosophers, Rockin' Robbie Billups.
I'm John Hammertime Holshoe.
And join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts, blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. Catch you on the next video.